Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to my garage. Where we left off last video was discovering what potentially could be the entire issue I've been having with the CRX. And what I found was a degraded fuel pressure regulator diaphragm. I have the new diaphragm here. I'm itching to get this thing installed and see if this is the solution to why this CRX isn't running. If all goes to plan, I already have a reservation to rent a U-Haul trailer, get this thing loaded up, and get it down the hill so my buddy Heavy Hitters Motorsports can work his magic, get this thing tuned, make sure it's not gonna blow up, see what it'll do. There's a lot to get done this morning, and ain't nothing to it but to do it. Here's this part right here. This is potentially the cause to why this car isn't running. This has a TWM individual throttle body system. So if you have a system like this and your diaphragm has degraded like mine and you're having trouble finding a replacement, Borla exhaust systems actually makes the replacement diaphragm. I'll put the link in the description if you're looking for this same diaphragm. Should be quick and easy. Remove these 4 bolts again. Try to reduce the amount of fuel that's going to be spraying everywhere. I got this rag right here. Once we get it back together, I'll have to readjust this regulator. It should be around the 45 PSI and not pegged after 100. Once I have that diaphragm installed, I'll start the car, make sure that we're getting fuel through the return line. Once we can verify that, I will remove this old crusty return line and I'll trim this down and reinstall that back on the return line at the firewall. From there, we'll just kind of go through and see what else we need to button up in here and get the interior back together and go get that trailer. All right, got everything right in front of me. Going to be a little preemptive and tuck this rag behind the regulator. Make sure I don't spill anything. Whoa. This thing's been sitting all week, so there shouldn't be any pressure left in the system. I know I said that last time. Whoa. But yeah, it's been sitting all week now. So if there is anything, it should be very minimal. I will loosen the bottom first. So if there's any pressure, it'll spray down into the rag rather than up into the firewall and the windshield. Whoa. Being very careful as to not lose these tiny little screws. It's the last thing I need right now. Okay. There's also that spring inside here. Let's remove this old crusty. Show you guys in here. This is like a rubber coated fabric. What was happening is that the rubber coating on this inner part of the seal has degraded. So it's been allowing the fuel to just kind of pass through that fabric and build pressure on the backside when it should be building pressure on the front side to release this seal to allow the excess pressure to be rerouted back into the tank. And then the opened end of the spring goes towards the diaphragm, and this end with the bucket is what goes against the adjustment screw in here, and that screw presses on this bucket, increasing the spring tension, raising your pressure. Get my magnetic tray back here. It's a little tricky to get everything lined up again. Make sure the gasket is in its right orientation, or the diaphragm, not the gasket. Get these all snug first. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to see if this solves this issue here. I want to see this thing run. All right, and it's as simple as that, really. Got the old diaphragm out, new one in, very minimal fuel spillage, if any. I was able to catch the little bit that did come out on this rag, so always make sure when you're messing with any fuel connections, make sure that your system's depressurized and you have plenty of rags nearby, because you don't want any residual fuel to end up on something on your engine that's going to get hot and cause more problems. All right, so I'm ready to reconnect the battery. I'll set the camera up so you guys can see the return line going in the fuel can. We can verify that there's actual bleed off pressure in there, and then verify the pressure at the regulator as well. All right, wish me luck. If you guys see any spray fueling all over the place, let me know to turn this thing off. I should probably go grab the key. All right, now I have the important part, the key. Still haven't connected the battery. Really getting ahead of myself. You can tell I'm excited, huh? All right, now we're ready.
I think you've had enough. No? Now you've had enough.
just like that. All right, let me pick you guys up here. All right, started, ran, idled, stalled. We are currently at 30 PSI. We have fuel in the return now, which is great news. I think we just need to adjust this a little more and get to that 45 PSI. And I think this thing will run like a champ. All right, first we'll loosen the lock nut. And also you'll notice now with that new diaphragm, before we were getting pressure bleed off through this screw. That's a dead giveaway that that diaphragm is bad, because there shouldn't be any fuel on this side of that diaphragm.
You see the peanut? Dead giveaway.
So if you're adjusting your fuel pressure regulator and you're getting fuel coming out of your adjustment, your diaphragm is shot. Now you see this is all dry and it's not losing pressure through that. So now that the lock nut is loosened, I don't know how much per turn. I think that was about a half a turn. We'll start the car and adjust it while we're looking at it. Down a little back, maybe you can hear me. Well, it looks like we're hovering right around 50 PSI. This thing is idling finally for the first time, basically since I got it. So this is great news. Wait for this thing to warm up. That fuel is moving through the system and getting recycled through that regulator to the return line. This is the absolute best it's ran since I've gotten it. All right, what a relief, not only for me, but that fuel system as well. That's all good news. I'm gonna reconnect the return line to its original location. And also I bought new spark plugs and going to get those gapped correctly and put all that back in. All right, the return line is reconnected and now I am removing the old plugs, getting ready to install the new ones. I'm also labeling which plug came out of where. When my buddy looks at it later and tunes it, he can check these plugs to see if there was any issue. I could already tell these are very black, pointing to a very rich scenario, which makes sense because it was trying to pump 100 PSI of fuel pressure in there rather than 45. So the plugs that are coming out of here are a R5672A-8. The plugs that my buddy recommended are these BKR6 EIX-11. He also recommended to me that they be gapped at 25 thousandths. So I have a gapping tool here. You can read there, that's 20 thousandths, that's 30 thousandths. So we want to be right at that middle line there. So we'll check and see where we're at now. Right now we are currently at 45 thousandths. Feel free to roast me in the comments. I know there's a tool specifically for adjusting the gap on the ground electrode, but the way I've always done it in the past is I just kind of give it a little tap on something. This desk might not be hard enough. It is not. All right, but once you find a little harder surface, just go a little bit at a time. And you see right here, we have right at 25 thousandths. To use a clean, hard surface, I use the concrete floor in my garage. But yeah, you're just gonna give it a little tap, check it, tap, check it.
All you gotta do is just tap it in. Just tap it in.
A little bit at a time so you don't go over. All right, all the plugs are gapped to 25 thousandths, ready to reinstall them. All right, the CRX seems to be running good enough. The next step is to go pick up the trailer and get that thing loaded up and get it down the hill. But let's enjoy this cold start from my Ram. All right, let's go. All right, we are headed into town to go pick up that U-Haul. My reservation was for 8 a.m. It's currently 9:45. When I called, they were not very happy about me being late, but luckily they still have the trailer. I was able to reconfirm my reservation, so let's get that thing picked up. All right, back with the trailer. I was able to back it in straight and get better at navigating these things. All right, it is time to grab my steering wheel, my key rack. See if I can do this with one hand. All right, gonna drive this thing up by myself. Wish me luck. This thing has a pretty stiff clutch in it, so don't laugh at me if I stall it. It's been a while. All right, we're loaded up and strapped down. Gonna put on the safety chain on the back and get ready to roll out of here. After a shower and fresh clothes, got the CRX trailing right behind me. It's about an hour and a half drive down to Riverside where I'll be taking this to get tuned, and I'm obviously going to need some essentials, some beef jerky, chips, and some hydration. I'll catch up with you guys when we get there. All right, made it to my dad's shop, safe and sound. Give you an idea where I got my passion for cars from. All right, just left the shop. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the tuning done on it today. My buddy's other appointment ran a little longer than expected, but going to try to schedule to get the tuning done next weekend. So all there's left to do for today is to deal with this traffic heading back home. That's what I have to look forward to for the next hour and a half, and I'll catch you guys later.
2 weeks later.
Good morning, good morning. Today is the day. We are heading back down to my dad's shop to get the CRX tuned. It's a beautiful morning, getting a semi-early start compared to my weekdays. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get the car tuned today because my buddy told me that the injectors that are in the CRX right now, being 1000cc, are pretty overkill for being naturally aspirated. I tried to source some other injectors. I ordered a set from a company that said they were in Costa Mesa, so I figured being only an hour away, it shouldn't take more than 4 days to get them. But once I got shipping confirmation, they are coming from Florida. I don't understand why, but I had to search up Marketplace and offer up to find someone local that was selling something I could use. I did end up finding somebody selling a set of 525cc injectors in Chino. So we're heading there now to go get the injectors and then over to my dad's shop, and hopefully get this thing going. Also, while I'm running around down the hill today, I might have also found some parts for the Mazda Speed 3 as well. So stay tuned for that. All right, I'll catch up with you guys when we get to the shop. All right, we're back here at the shop. It's pretty noisy with all the fans and the engine running, so we're gonna try this whole voiceover thing. This is my longtime friend Ish, aka Heavy Hitters Motorsports. I'll leave a link to his profile in the description. Right here, he's connected using the Honda software while harnessing the power of the tuning gods on the CRX. And here he's using a snail-style throttle body sync tool to balance the individual throttle bodies by measuring how much vacuum they are pulling. From there, he adjusts the linkage underneath the throttle body, so they're all pulling the same vacuum. It's a long, tedious process, but absolutely crucial for getting accurate tuning and maximizing drivability. I can already hear the difference in how much smoother the engine was running just from that first adjustment. We were able to get a couple pulls up and down the street to dial in the bass tune some more, but ran into some mechanical issues in the chassis and a small oil leak that needed to be attended to before we could push it anymore. But a huge thank you to my brother Ish for taking the time to help me with my car. We'll be back to dial in the tune more soon. All right, it's been about a week, maybe a little more since that last clip. My buddy Ish, aka Heavy Hitters Motorsports, was getting the bass tune done on the CRX before we could do any more pulls. Just didn't feel comfortable. There's a lot of worn out components in the front end. So I'll be replacing tie rods, ball joints, and the steering wheel for some reason is a little loose. So I'm gonna take care of that as well before we can do some more pulls and get that tune really dialed in. Also, while the CRX was at my dad's shop, I had my PDR guy, Victor, aka Metal Pusher 3.0, work his magic on this door. Looked like somebody was kicking it or playing the drums on it or something. It had door dings all the way down, and he got this panel pretty much all glassed out. And then also looked like somebody tried to knee the quarter panel in the back here and got this looking pretty good. And then lastly, there was a dent on the pillar here, and that's non-existent. You can't even tell anymore. Eventually I'll want to repaint this car to the factory color. Right now it's slightly darker than it should be, but at least the body is about 95% straight and the paint is about a 95%, so I'm gonna leave it for now, and later on down the road I'll get it back to its original color. So you may have noticed that I have brought the CRX here with the Mazda Speed. There's a little sneak peek of what's going on over here. You'll see that in possibly the next video. I have a lot going on this next, and then tons more on the Mazda Speed. These two cars are gonna keep me busy, and I'm gonna keep pushing out that content for you guys. So that's going to be it for this video. I got a lot of work cut out for me, and I can't wait to share it with you. I want to thank you for watching and joining me as I learn to work on these cars and get them running, and I hope you learned something as well. Please share your thoughts in the comments. I'll respond to any questions that you might have, and I appreciate all the feedback. Can't wait to show you what's next with the CRX and the Mazda Speed. Thank you for watching. I just checked my channel and I found out I just blew past 500 subscribers, and that's unbelievable, and I really appreciate it. If you're just joining us, feel free to subscribe. I got a lot more coming, so I want to thank you for watching and see you on the next one. All right, buckle up. You guys didn't think I was going to end the video without taking you for a ride, did you? All right, hopefully you don't bounce around too much back there.